He also added 800 sanctions to asphyxiate the Iranian economy. If you look at this compared to the rest of the world, it's just an absolutely astounding amount. I can't imagine what these sanctions are doing. I mean, of course, that's aside from circling around with warships, tens of thousands of military personnel sending unmanned drones in their airspace, and of course, threatening them every other day on this giant psychopathic baby's Twitter account. So all of that aside, the act of war, this clear war crime, violation of international law, taking us to a new level, to the brink of full-fledged war with Iran, this unprecedented terrorist act, like you called it, the assassination of General Soleimani in broad daylight at the Baghdad airport was such a blatant, flagrant act of aggression, such a belligerent violation. It was only because of the Iranian retaliation that was de-escalatory and killed no Americans in response. I think that we're at the moment that we're at today, which is that we're not in a full-fledged war. Now, how is this going to affect Trump in the election? Look, I think Trump ran on being tough on Iran. We have to remember that even though he spoke out of both sides of his mouth saying end the endless wars, he also ran on a war against Muslims, essentially, running on killing terrorists and their families, running on essentially a torture program. And so his base, I think, has actually become emboldened by this measure because they can look at what he did and actually count it as a win-win. They can say, look, he took out a terrorist, right? Because even you have the Democrats conceding on this point, of course, all of the establishment media conceding the fact that Soleimani was a terrorist responsible for the deaths of thousands of people, hundreds of Americans, based on nothing. George, this is literally removing the agency of Iraqis living under brutal occupation.
Yeah, it's the opposite of the truth. Soleimani was the hammer of the terrorists. He was the one fighting ISIS and Al-Qaeda.
Exactly. Exactly. So I think that his base will look at this and say, well, he killed a terrorist, right? And he also prevented war with Iran. And they don't understand how much on the precipice of war we still are, George.